Hi, folks, and welcome back. We've been gone for a while. We're back for episode 4 of the Spurs Up Show. I'm Chris Phillips, joined as always by my esteemed colleague, Tyler Clark. You can follow the show's happenings and also the South Carolina Armchair account at our Twitter handle, which is at Armchair SCAR, so Armchair S Car, if you will. You can follow myself on Twitter as well at CPhilly19 and my colleague Tyler it's Casper McLovin, right?
Casper McLovin, that's it.
Casper McLovin. Awesome. All right, perfect. Like I said, we've been gone for a while. We're back. Been a little bit of hiatus. A lot of stuff has happened. We're going to get into a little bit of a special edition here of the Spurs Up Show. Going to dive into, obviously, the SEC baseball tournament. This show's coming out right before it. We're going to talk about that a little bit, also dive into some football stuff. I know Tyler's got some stuff as well with the NBA draft coming up next month. Some of our guys in that, kind of how they did. But first, we're going to dive right into it, into the absolute mess that is South Carolina baseball. Tyler, I know you've been watching with the one eye closed. South Carolina loses their last, 8 to have a losing conference record for the second time in 3 years, and closes the season out losing 2 of 3 to Georgia at home. So they enter the conference tournament now as an 11 seed. They will take on the Vanderbilt Commodores tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern on the SEC Network. South Carolina has Reed Scott going in that game starting. I'm not sure who Vandy's got going, but Tyler, we talked a little bit about it last time before, kind of your feelings on South Carolina baseball season to that point. Coming back to now, how going into the tournament, any hope that we can make some kind of run or even win a game in Hoover?
Even if we're good, we usually don't win in Hoover, which is a pretty bad thing. And I think it says a lot about our team this year that we're playing at 10:30 in the morning on a Tuesday against Vanderbilt. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, like I said, Reed Scott taking the hill. It's really been hard to fathom what's happened to South Carolina baseball series or 8 series or whatever it was. I mean, South Carolina had 2 series wins all year, and it was against the 2 teams that didn't make the tournament, or 2 of the teams that didn't make the tournament. So, yeah, I mean, just dismal season, just an absolute shitty way to spend a spring watching. But obviously, everything that seemed to could go wrong could. South Carolina couldn't get out of the 8th or 9th inning. Clark Schmidt goes down for the season. You obviously lost Tyler Johnson for a while. The lineup was inconsistent with, I got to a point, man, where if I saw the word bunt one more time on Twitter, I was going to explode. I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to cut it off.
It's every time I saw baseball on Twitter, I just wanted to just not look. And at that point, that's a really sad point to be in this program.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was the LSU series that really got me when I'm not sure if you watched that, but I kind of forced myself to watch it. After we won Friday night, I was like, oh man, here we go. We're about to cut it on, turn around a little bit. Of course, we go on to lose Saturday in a game we could have won, and then Sunday was just summarize the entire season, in my opinion.
But even the Clemson series,
losing late again.
The Clemson series was like the earliest predecessor, and we could have never seen what was possible, what was about to happen.
Yeah, it set the tone for sure. There's no question. Clemson series set the tone. Was the story the entire year?
That was the first real example that we saw of horrific coaching that really set everyone off.
Yeah, and obviously, diving into the I'll dive into the Chad Holbrook thing in a second, but what you said earlier it's really funny. Obviously South Carolina is terrible in Hoover. I don't think we won a game there in 5 years. Even those teams that won the College World Series, they were terrible there. Never played well in Hoover. I don't think the ballpark really fits South Carolina. It hasn't in the past at least fit what they try to do, because it's just a big ballpark, and we like to, our teams used to like to get the ball to the park, and we've never been just a doubles or a gaps hitting team, it seems like, of late. But I think the ironic thing to me is I was thinking, maybe tricking myself in my head as a South Carolina fan. I'm like, if there's ever going to be a year we make a run in the tournament, this would be it. We would pull it out of our ass and make a run in a year where we've had such a terrible season. I mean, maybe that's just me looking at the glass half full, but
I did
I
think
mean,
about this yesterday, but it's like there's no way. There's no way.
yeah, I mean, the thing that kills me though, it's like I look at every team on the bracket and I'm like, we could have swept every team we played.
That is also true.
We were
I mean,
we were
I
a
would love
pitch
to see
away every weekend.
I wonder how many games we lost by one run this year.
Oh, man, I wonder how many. I mean, I think we lost 7 or 8 games. We were leading going into the 8th inning. Some
We're gonna look this stat
ridiculous
up.
number.
I want to
It
know.
was yeah. You look at it. It was a ridiculous. I think it was like we lost like 7 games going into. We were leading. We had lost like 6 in the previous like 4 years combined or something. It was just insane. Yeah. Anyways, I mean, you open up with Vanderbilt, who they've had their struggles of their own this season. I'm not really sure who they're starting, but South Carolina obviously dropped 2 of 3 to them at home in a tough series. Like I said, I think that one's a toss-up. Like I said, I don't know who they're pitching, but going to lean on experience tomorrow. They're starting Reed Scott, who's a veteran guy, and I'm sure they'll lean on experience. I've unfortunately gotten to the point where I don't want to see Josh Reagan on the mound for South Carolina ever again, but I'm sure he'll be out there tomorrow. So no offense, Josh, if you're listening to this, but hey, when you don't have it, you don't have it, man. So if South Carolina, so the first round is actually, I didn't know, have they always done it like this? The first round is single elimination, and then it goes to
I was
double
looking at this
when it
too.
goes to second round?
It must have been the expansion of the SEC that did this because wasn't it the top 8 teams made it to Hoover?
Right. Yeah. I wasn't really, I was very unfamiliar with, because I knew teams got a bye. See, I think it was 12 made it to Hoover. And then maybe, no, that's how it is now. I don't know. Yeah, it used to be just double all the way, though, I thought. And then when you got to the finals, it was like a 3-game series or something. I don't know.
And we'd always go 2 and out.
It didn't matter. I didn't have to.
Yeah, I've never had to care about this tournament to begin with.
Yeah.
But it's intriguing now because our coach is about to lose his job.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So basically, as all the national pundits are predicting, I think South Carolina most likely has to win the tournament to get into the regionals. If not, they have to at least get to the championship game. I would assume.
Most of the guys I saw said if we get to Saturday, which is 4 wins, which is a joke.
Yeah, which is 4 wins in a row, pretty much. Well, not in a row, but 4 wins. Either way.
Kentucky, LSU would be the 2 teams we'd run into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. So there's a chance. I mean, saying we got a chance, but going to be a tall task for sure. On a team, it'll be interesting to see if they dig deep and find a way to get there. Personally, I don't think they will. I hope they beat Vandy just because I'd like to have some baseball to watch this week. I mean, it feels it's.
I'm not rooting for them to lose. I just don't.
No. Well, that was actually going to be my next question for you, Tyler. So, obviously, moving into our favorite guy, Chad Holbrook. Obviously, I had an article earlier in the season after the Clemson series defending Chad Holbrook, saying, hey, he's a good coach. Like, baseball's a tough game, whatever. My stance on Chad Holbrook now, I am very much leaning the other way. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to pull the trigger yet, but I'm pretty darn close.
Because who are you going to hire? This is my thing.
Pretty damn close. Chad Holbrook came out today. Obviously said he believes he can get South Carolina to Omaha. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to say anything else. Yeah. But there's a couple things that scare me about it. One, like you said, who are you going to hire? Such an abrupt firing. It's going to make it tough on recruiting. The recruiting class you're building now, a lot of guys have committed to Holbrook and his staff. And like you said, who are you going to hire? See, the thing that
Clemson
scares me about him coming,
Lee, and that would have been the best scenario if we were actually.
It would have,
because Monty Lee is an amazing coach, as you can already see, and what he did in Lexington. I mean, in Clemson. I don't know why I said Lexington.
It would have. One guy that I thought that maybe they'd think about giving the job to if they let Holbrook go, and they wanted to keep the current staff together. I was thinking maybe Stuart Lake from Charleston Southern.
Yep, that was exactly what I was going to say. That was the only one that makes sense. Unless you're going out of state.
I mean, he was a head coach at D1. He was a head coach at Charleston Southern. I don't know much about Stuart Lake, honestly, at all. but he's the one with the head coaching experience.
Right.
Whether it was at Charleston Southern or where it was, I think you could probably get a better name than that. That's the thing. I think you could get a way better name. That South Carolina job is
better name, but it'd have to be way out of state and way out of region. I don't know. I just don't know who's available to hire.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, with that being said, I mean, here's my question to you, Tyler. See South Carolina make a run deep. And now, as a fan, I know how you're going to answer this as a fan, but really thinking about this question. Would you rather see South Carolina make a run in the SEC tournament and maybe we do make it to Saturday and we get the 4 seed, or maybe even somehow get the 3 seed in the regional and really battle in a regional and lose in the regional, and Holbrook keep his job because he made that hot run at the end? Or would you rather see us just lose tomorrow, beat out? We're obviously not going to the postseason, and be able to just get rid of Holbrook.
I'd rather go
because I'm telling you,
keep him, and because I don't think you can just say see you after just one bad year, and you can wait for someone else to, like, another guy to come take the job, because I don't think that there's such a great environment for hiring coaches this year. I think you give them another year, you end on a good note, and you just see what happens, because they're going to have.
It is 2 bad years in 3 years, though. It is 2 bad years in 3 years, though.
That is true.
Second year, and it'll be the second time in 3 years they didn't even make the postseason. I digress. Yeah, because I can tell you right now, though, if we come out tomorrow morning and look like we're not showing up and we lose 6-0 or 10-1 or some, the fans are going to be in arms to get him out. I mean, they're going to come to Columbia with some pitch.
I think they already are. Just listening to the radio.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard not to be frustrated, man. I mean, honestly, it's so hard because you just know South Carolina baseball talent. Like, I mean, it really feels like. I mean, when I watched that LSU series, I was talking about earlier, and we lost that series and lost that last game. I mean, it just has that feeling. It's just not your year. Like, it really is. Nothing can go right. Like, every way that South Carolina can find a way. Every time that South Carolina has a chance to lose or win a ball game, they find another way to lose. And I mean, I do put a lot of blame on the coaching, though, because the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's kind of how it feels. You get to every game in the 8th or 9th inning, and you're like, I've seen this script before.
Yep.
Guy out there, he's having the same thing happen to him. I mean, how many times does Josh Reagan need to give up a home run to realize maybe his stuff isn't there this year? Like, I don't know. Like, you just can't keep running the kid out there and expect him to show up and give you something different than what he's did all season. I mean,
yeah. So before we went on, I was curious. By the way, the 1-run loss stat: 8 losses by 1 run this season.
It's insane. It's just crazy.
Yeah, but before we went on, I was curious of guys from last year's team that batted over 300 compared to this year's team.
Right.
And I was also curious of guys that had a sub 3.5 ERA. So I'm going to ask you, how many guys do you think this year had over a 300 average, and guys last year that had over a 300 average? This goes between the whole team, not just the starting lineup, just the whole team, no matter how many at-bats they have.
So I'm guessing how many guys total had over a 300 average last year versus how many had over a 300 average this year, just total.
Exactly. Yep.
I'd say last year was probably – total would be 6, 7 last year, and then this year probably.
All right, let's count. 8 last year, 2 this year, and the 2 averages were 304 and 308.
And one of them was Cortez, right? Or did he get the 300 mark?
No, Cortez didn't even about 300. He averaged 289.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's with a nice 260 batting average to end this year.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hit a curveball, man. I mean, it's just you watch him. I mean, yeah.
Last year he averaged 321, slugged 509. This year he batted 260, slugged 442 in his senior year.
What was his final? He didn't even lead us in home runs, right?
He tied with Cortez.
Boy, like 6?
Yep, 6.
God, I thought he was like a 15
9.
9. Okay. Well, it's a little better. I thought he was going to be like
it's really good for Cortez because Cortez absolutely just raked the last half of the year.
Especially in conference play. I mean, just
Jacob
tore
Olsen
the cover off the ball.
In average, too. That's 2 freshmen, or not freshmen, but first-year guys. Played
Yeah,
really
Olsen's a
well.
really good hitter.
Yeah.
He's a really, really good hitter.
I didn't know.
He'll probably be one of our leaders next year.
Another thing, looking at stats, I didn't know how bad Madison Stokes was this year. He batted 224, a
Man,
339 slugging percentage.
Is he a senior?
Junior, I think, maybe.
Oh God. Oh God. I hate to say that, but God, come on, man. Oh man. I mean, there's just some guys you're like, God, if he gets a hit, it's a miracle.
Yep.
Yeah. So speaking of Carlos Cortez, to the All SEC freshman team. So definitely, as you were mentioning his stats, he obviously tore it up in the last half or so of the season, especially in SEC play. So well deserved. I think Cortez has got a bright future for South Carolina. I'm glad he's glad he's in our lineup. That's for sure, because he was absolutely tearing the cover off the ball.
Him and Jacob Olsen, that's two really good things going into next year, regardless of how this year ends.
Right. So, I'll ask you, kind of wrapping it up. What do you think, if you had to make a prediction right now, how many games? I'll give you to this. I'll give you like a little gambling verbiage here. South Carolina will win over under 1.5 games in the SEC tournament.
Under, I think they'll win 1 game.
Under. Yeah, I'd have to go under too. I mean, it just until they show me something, prove to me that we can hold a lead in the 8th or the 9th inning. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm just hoping we win tomorrow so we have some baseball to watch and something to get excited about. I mean, I think this team, we're going to find out a lot about this team as far as, morale and kind of their character as well. But it'll be really interesting to see, can we band together and kind of make something happen? You know what I mean? So, yeah. So like I said before, tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're like me and going to be at work, make sure you tune in on the Watch ESPN app like I'll be doing, watching on the SEC network.
Stay tuned for the rage tweets as well. Chris will be live rage tweeting at 10:30 in the morning.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to be on the Armchair South Carolina account. So make sure you're following that because it could get really ugly. So, and what? I guess Florida's the 1 seed. Florida and LSU, they're 1 and 2. Texas A&M, who won the tournament last year, they're the 7 seed. Interesting to see.
Give me LSU taking it all.
Yeah, I like LSU too. I think they're probably the most complete team, but Florida's got some talent, man. Yeah, so I didn't realize how good Arkansas was.
I didn't either until I looked at this bracket.
Yeah, they're the 4 seed, but we don't keep up a lot with the West, and they're the 1 West team. I don't. We played A&M. They're the 1 West team we didn't play.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything about Arkansas.
No, we didn't play them at all.
No, we didn't play them. I just looked at the schedule.
Yeah. So, like I said, tune in tomorrow, 10:30. You never know what might happen. Sunday will be the championship game. So, moving on from the SEC tournament from baseball, we're going to shift a little bit into some football news that's going on. Tyler, I know that I talked to you about this a little bit earlier before we came on the show. I know you were kind of unfamiliar with the opposition. I know this is the time of the year that kind of coaches come together and we have kind of the new proposed rules that come into place, the proposed red shirt rule that came in, as far as basically what this rule says. And it was the American Football Coaches Association rule. They sent a proposal to the NCAA. They'll basically allow players to play up to 4 games, and they still get their red shirt for that season. So, for example, a guy, Brandon McElwain, he could have still redshirted. He would be a redshirt freshman this year. Even a guy like Shea Patterson for Ole Miss, who played in 3 games, could be a redshirt freshman. So, kind of, Tyler, your first time hearing it, what's your first takes on what do you think, good or bad or kind of indifferent?
Kind of indifferent. I don't think that would have helped us very much this year, but I'm sure it'll help a lot of teams because they'll see just you can get a better gauge off of how a guy has adjusted to college football speed versus high school.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a really interesting rule because if you think about it, you could really give a kid especially they were kind of talking about this for Alabama. They could have had a couple of their 5-star linebackers play against Clemson in the national championship. So, I mean, it's really really interesting rule. I mean, I think pretty much because I'm reading all the coaches' comments on it. I think all of them are pretty much in favor of it. You know, why not? They're on the player's side.
They'll find
it
a way
would
to
definitely
really make it help them a lot.
Yeah, and it'd definitely be a recruiting pitch as well. Like, hey,
Absolutely.
like you can play 3 games. Like,
if you earn it, you're in. Yeah.
Right.
If you don't,
I mean, I'll tell you this:
4 years of eligibility.
It would have. I don't know if it would have made McElwain stay, but man, I would have loved if we. Yeah, I would have loved if we could have had. Hey, like after those 3 games, be like, yo, Brandon McElwain is obviously not ready to play. Like, let's just. I mean, what you could have done, you could have played McElwain for 3 games. Obviously, he wasn't ready to play. You could have played Bentley for 3 games, and if he didn't show up and play well, you could have just let Orth finish the year. You both guys are redshirt.
Yep, that would have been a perfect plan.
Yeah. It gives you a lot more. I think it would make teams. It gives you a lot more leeway as far as how you use guys because you have nothing to lose at that point.
Yep.
Because half the time the reason guys don't play is because you're going to lose that burn the red shirt. So
when is this implemented? Is this already implemented?
So no, I think it's just something they're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not something that's going to happen yet. It probably wouldn't be till next year, I'd imagine. So it's just something they're talking about, but it's really interesting. It'll be really interesting to see because I think a couple years ago they also talked about possibly going to a 9-game SEC schedule. So, and that's something that hasn't even happened yet. So I'm not sure if this will happen a little bit more quickly or what'll happen, but it'll be really interesting to see because I think this could really, it kind of change the game. I mean, as far as
it really does,
for guys coming in and wanting to play early and still being on a red shirt. I mean, I know as a former college athlete myself, like that'd be awesome to just be able to go play and, you still get your red shirt and kind of get that deal going. So, before I get to the over under, speaking of Brandon McElwain, not sure if you saw this in the news, Tyler, but Brandon McElwain, who we had talked about before on this show, transferring from South Carolina, it came out this past week. He's actually going to go play for Cal, the California Golden Bears on the West Coast. So, Tyler, any thoughts or any care at all about that?
Good for him, man. If he plays, that'll give me something to do with the late night games because I fucking hate watching Pac-12 games. So, hey, yeah. I get to watch Brandon McElwain.
Dude, I think he'll fit a lot better in the West Coast than he did in the SEC.
I do
too.
too.
That much, kind of smaller.
I want to see him do well.
Yeah, I'm pulling for him. I mean, I was obviously very critical of him when he left, but I have nothing against the kid. I mean, I hope he does well. I mean, so it'll be interesting to see. Like you said, definitely give us something to watch late night. But I wonder if he's going to play baseball for him.
Probably not. I think he realized that one. That was done.
Dude, I kind of thought he should have went pro out of high school, but hey, whatever.
Oh yeah, that was like unanimous. That should have happened.
Yo, and I don't know if you saw this though. When he tweeted, he said, "I'm going back to the Bay. I'm excited to attend University of California, Berkeley." His picture had him throwing a football and playing baseball. So,
all right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they'll give him an opportunity.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you can,
they should give him an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if you can, with all due respect to Cal, if you can make the team at South Carolina, I feel like you could probably play at Cal. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point.
It's just 2 different levels of baseball. Really, you know what I mean? So, all right, yeah, and another little football tidbit, we both talked about before. We're obviously kind of, I definitely caught the football itch this week. Just thinking ahead. Obviously, we're about to hit June. Before you know it, we'll have SEC coaches meetings and everything, and fall practice, and then obviously it's on. But Vegas released their over/under odds for South Carolina football and all of the other SEC teams. I'll go over them with you, Tyler. First off, with the other teams in the East, Vegas had Florida over/under 8 wins, Georgia at 8 wins, Tennessee at 7.5 wins, Kentucky at 6 wins. They had South Carolina over/under 5.5 wins.
Oh.
5.5 wins. I thought that was low.
Give me the over.
I thought that was
right now.
I thought that was very low.
Play only thing as soon as we're done with this.
Yeah, put the whole put the kitchen sink on it. Yeah, I thought that was really low. I think it's crazy that the number 1 team in the East has over/under. It's really low. But obviously South Carolina 6-7 last year. So some of the over/unders for some of South Carolina's opponents, NC State's at 7.5.
Jeez.
Missouri's at 6.5, which that blew me
Missouri
away.
6.5.
And we're at 5.5. Yes.
Give me the under there. I'm just
the
going
only
right there.
the only team that's worse than us and over under the East is Vanderbilt, and they don't even have them listed. So I'm sure it's like 3.
That's awesome.
But Texas A&M's at 7, Arkansas at 7, and Clemson at 9. Yeah, I think I already got kind of your answer, Tyler. I would definitely take the over as well.
Well, I think it's going to be 6.
Yeah,
worst case scenario, 6.
Yeah, I'd like to think good season would be 7, but yeah, I think if
7 would be really good.
I think if we won 5 this year, that would be a real letdown. So after last year, so I think we're going to go with the over. Obviously, like I said before, as we get closer to football season, we're going to really dive into football. But just to give you guys a little bit of taste, give you something to kind of chew on as far as for summertime goes. Besides like uniform threads and all that stuff, I know, dude. I've been a victim of that. Just checking on.
I'm sure you've seen. I've been tweeting a bunch. There's a lot of guys that have been tweeting their top 10s, and there's a lot of South Carolina and a lot of top 10s in recruiting.
Yeah, so you were saying. You said, what's his name? DeCarrion Joyner, I think it is. He's coming. He's 20,
or Father's Day, whatever that is. I think it's
Father's Day. Yeah.
I think that's a lock.
Yeah, I think man. I'm not a big recruiting guy in the offseason because I just know how much these kids can change their minds. I mean, obviously, look at, as we know, they went to Clemson. Yeah. The one who shall not be named.
Yeah, Mr. I will not announce my commitment until December. Please respect my decision. All right, I'm committing in March.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. So that's why I don't get too much into it. But obviously, anytime we can get a commitment, I mean that would be awesome. So, we'll see what happens with that.
I think a guy like DeCarrion he'll be 100% on whichever one he chooses, which it should be South Carolina.
See, this is so bad. I don't even. What position is he again?
He's a quarterback.
Cornerback. There we go. Okay.
Quarterback.
Quarterback. Yes. Okay. No, I actually have seen him.
He's from Fort Dorchester.
That's
really
right.
Good.
Okay.
Elite 11 quarterback.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, hey, we could use it. So.
Hey man, we get to see him 4 games if we want to.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah. I'm trying to find like your Twitter feed of like these recruits and
it's on Armchair.
The Armchair.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the Casper McLovin Twitter feed is pretty ludicrous.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Sorry,
it's pretty ridiculous. If you guys want something funny, go look at Casper McLovin's Twitter feed. It is something else. Yeah. So I see like Jalen Phillips too, another one.
Yeah, I don't know much about the guys, but I mean, it's good to see that obviously this coaching staff has made an emphasis on recruiting, and you see it on social media. And there's probably a ton of other guys that aren't even on Twitter. So it's just good to see.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one thing I'm really glad with. Muschamp. We're never gonna have to worry about it. They going out recruiting and working hard, because I think that's something he obviously mentioned they were gonna focus on. And I mean, hey. Recruiting is the name of the game nowadays. I'm actually looking at the armchair Twitter now. Going back to baseball, I just love my tweet, R.I.P. Chad Holbrook.
I figured you were drunk because you tweeted from your personal account at like midnight, and then immediately
No. That was just the mood, man. What day was this? It was May 19th. What game was that after, though? You know what I think it was? I saw like we had lost to –
that was after a Georgia game.
Yeah, that's what it was. I think I saw we lost it the second. That was my mood. I was like, yeah, that's it. I was like, that's it. He's dead. He's a dead man walking. So we'll see. But yeah, so moving on, I know that obviously we had our boys Sindarius Thornwell and PJ Dozier go through the NBA Combine. Obviously, that draft's coming up in June. Were you able to watch that at all? I didn't get a chance to catch it.
I didn't see anything about it.
Okay,
but I know that
I know that you had kind of looked into, the stats. Do you know how they did in that, or like kind of how?
Not a clue. I've looked at mock drafts, and it looks like PJ has gone to the second round pretty much. and Sindarius is still mid second round. This one I'm looking at right now has PJ Dozier going 47th overall to the Pacers, and Sindarius Thornwell 57th to the Nets.
Oh, the Nets. Oh my God.
Yeah, that'd be horrendous. But he'd probably start.
Hey,
let him go.
yeah. I mean, seriously, you get in the league faster. Whatever. I'm sure he'll take it. Hey, you get in the league. That's all that really matters.
That's all that matters.
Do we know anything about Zion Williamson? Is he like? We know nothing really? Okay. All right.
But you have to imagine we're in good shape.
You hope so.
Yeah.
You really hope so. Hopefully this isn't another Seventh Woods situation.
Yeah,
Seventh
Woods. He averaged 2 minutes a game this year.
Yeah, he like played every game.
So
yeah, he would have started every game for us.
Joke's on you, Seventh. Joke's on you.
Yeah, hope you get drafted, bud.
Good luck.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously wishing PJ Dozier and Sindarius Thornwell nothing with the best. Obviously, I don't know if you saw this actually. I did see on Twitter PJ Dozier had a monstrous slam in the combat. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, a guy he tossed up an alley-oop and I mean just threw it down. Like it was awesome.
I'll look at that when we get done with this. That's awesome though. Good for him.
Yeah, it was great. Showing off his vert a little bit. So with that being said, I mean, it's kind of a short show today. That's really all we had. Like I said, really kind of just diving into the SEC tournament. Obviously, like I said, South Carolina plays Vanderbilt to open it up at 10:30, games at 2, 5:30, and 9 following that. It's a really busy week in college baseball as all the conference tournaments get going. That's really all I got. Tyler, you got anything else for the listeners? Or
no, I think that's it. Enough gold for one day. All right. Well, appreciate you guys listening. We'll catch you guys next time to see if Chad Holbrook's still your head coach. And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys next time. Appreciate you listening.